hailing from the Marsabit County, where there has been a lot of intertribal, interethnic conflict. The challenges she faced while growing up, and afterward, she suggested some solutions to which have enabled to bring success in fostering peace among the Rendile and Borana community. And that's the conflict while she was young. She mentioned that now when they merged with a partner group, the partner group has been able to bring up an answer, a question and answer session, which also was tackled very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Let's appreciate Isaac better. He's done very well, but he has also realized that 7 minutes can be a very short time. He pleaded with me a number of times. He has reminded me again that he wants to do a short poem. You heard that he's a poet, isn't it? And since he's doing a good job, I want to invite him here to come and do it in less than 2 minutes. Is it possible? Okay. Come, Kevin. Why are we not appreciating Kevin? Is it because we forgot all the poetry that we did in high school? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. So my poem is titled Dream, and I had written this poem particularly to present it at the UN House, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, in preparation of the Summit of the Future, which happened recently in New York. So the poem is titled Dream. I dream of a world whose home is ruin, our days filled with night. A world for the dead in Sudan's land, whose children are famishing, is hope at a stand. A world for the soldier who's weary and worn, whose dreams are of peace, a life newly born. A world to freely censure the violence that's bred, the innocent victims, the innumerable unfed. I dream of a world where empathy will reign, where kindness and clemency will take away every pain, where kids can laugh and women are abuse-free, and Amani is the anthem both for you and for me. But silence persists, a weighty, cold stone. As agony deepens, we are not alone. Let's search for that one world with capacity to mend.
Women and marginalized groups, and our presenter looks like Noreen, Karibu, Colleen, Norris. Yes, Karibu. I was trying to arrange the names properly. It's because in class I usually call her the daughter of Chuck Norris now.
So, as Dr. Matei said, my name is Colleen Norris, and I attended the holistic approach to the security of the role of women and marginalized groups. Our two presenters were Karen Kabuchi and Miss Margaret Super, which my notes. Mrs. Kabuchi began with how we need to discuss people with special needs who are often overlooked when it comes to war and conflict, and how is it for these people, and how can we best include them in the conversation? So Mrs. Kabuchi has a background in information technology and currently works here at the university. One of her children has a severe disability that leads her into this particular topic, working with children of all ages and their mothers. This is her passion, and as she calls it, her vocation. That is about 8.9 million out of 55.8 million Kenyans, But a 2019 report says that only 2.2 or 0.9% of Kenyans have a disability. There are unresolved issues around data reliability that must be addressed. We moved into the question of how does war, conflict, and insecurity affect these persons with disabilities? And as we are all aware of the ongoing war in Ukraine and Russia and how that has made the world a dangerous place, we can see the ramifications globally, including food shortages here, and how we should be aware of the piece of wood that was very difficult to cross and would not have been able for anyone in a wheelchair to cross, anyone who was blind. It would have been very, very difficult. When you hear alliances being drawn and the beginnings of rumblings of conflict, people with disabilities are often forgotten. Insecurity has a disproportionate impact on marginalized groups, and people living with disability are at an even greater risk and need special attention, and that special attention should be paid to initiatives for people with disabilities. There was another reference photo from the 2007-2008 anti-finance bill protesters when the member of parliament who was being voted in, Jackson Koski, was in his wheelchair because everyone else fled, and he was the only one who was left. And a point was made that should the people who had rushed into parliament decided that they had wanted to be cruel, he would have had no way to escape. So, more than just the person with the disability being affected, their families are affected. That can cause conflicts and insecurity around gender-based violence, drug and substance abuse, or the general stigma of when someone in the family has a disability, and what that means for how they might interact with other family members. We ended on the call to action with how we need to avoid a one-size-fits-all approach, using out-of-the-box approaches Cheater found a calling to serve in the community. She discussed how women and girls during COVID were being married at very young ages because there was no accountability with the schools being closed, and how the grassroots organization was able to provide them with some of the support they would have needed, and being able to educate them on gender-based violence as one of the biggest sources of insecurity for women. She then went to discuss how in Marsabit County, climate change has negatively impacted the culture because they are pastoralists and follow the grazing cows, and when the cows do not have enough to eat, there is conflict among the men, and when the men fight, some are killed, women are left alone and unable to speak up for themselves because of the culture, and have additionally the struggle of raising children and fending for themselves and their families. So security is very important. And she stressed that it is so important that when children or young people wish to go to war, wish to initiate conflict, it is the mother's responsibility to teach peace and to establish peace as a possibility. We ended on the note that when a fire breaks out, we ask questions. Where are we going? What is happening? How did this start? And these are all questions that we should be asking when it comes to security issues on a national scale, both from the grassroots to the macro level.
Thank you very much. Right on the dot. And she did very well. Thank you very much. That group did very well in two areas in terms of time, but also in summarizing between the two presentations by the internal. Who was Margaret Super? Margaret. Ah, that's you. Thank you very much. We saw the others earlier, but I can't remember seeing you. So I wasn't very sure whether it was Super or Super. Thank you very much. And Karen Kibuchi, I think I know her. Kindly stand so that we can see you. Thank you very much for the gallant work that you do. Even in your presentation, it shows. Let's go to the last group, and this group should know that we were giving only 7 minutes for the presentation. Who is your presenter? Is your presenter there? Ah, okay. I think I know him. He goes by a name. The first one I like, Alfred. The second one?